The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to talk about what the farm effect is, as well as indoor plants and terrariums. Our guest, she is the creator of Happy Hearts Gardens on social media. Rebecca will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour's full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. I'm your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow, maintain that landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're tuning in to us on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2025, through a radio app, through a parent website, though, WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, under the Season 9 radio tab at the top of the page, podcast replay, in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your day just for a little bit. You want to be part of our program besides listening? You can do that in two different avenues. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. Send us an email. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. We know, so we'd like to know who you are and where you're listening from, as well as you can give us a call toll free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
This is a good one.
Okay.
How do you fix a broken tomato?
Broken tomato, you mend it with mint,
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Tomato paste.
Oh.
Ba-dum-bum.
Okay.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com, American-made rescue products. Keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests such as wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
And they are coming back for season 10 next year. Happy to announce that.
Awesome.
Farm effect. Now, this is it's a scientific discovery, basically, is what it is. And it is evidence that, to some degree, that shows certain environments affect how your body accepts the world around it.
Yeah. So the farm effect is the observation that children raised on traditional farms have significantly lower incidence of asthma, allergies, and other atopic diseases compared to those raised in more urban, what would be a sterile environments. And this is attributed to the diverse and early on in life microbial exposure, and it trains and develops the immune system. So, yeah, that's what it is farm children, and this is seen a lot with the Amish, and we'll talk about that, but farm children are typically have a stronger immune system because of that exposure. So, yeah, that's what the farm effect is. And this has changed over time because at one point, a lot of people had farms. It was a very common thing.
Almost everybody had
farms. And then
now if you find and you see a kid and he or she says, "I live on a farm," people are like, "Whoa, hold on, we got questions."
Yeah.
Because that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. And yeah. So over time, this has changed and shifted and things like that. But there's a few key factors of what the farm effect includes is the microbial diversity. So the children on farms are exposed to a much wider variety of bacteria and fungi.
Exposed to everything.
Right. And then this is also like in their home, just the environment around them. It's just a stronger, rich microbial. I keep saying that funny. Microbial richness, and it has a lower link to things like asthma and allergies. So because a lot of children, so let's say in the urban environment, are going from indoor to indoor activity, they
Rarely, the only time they see a tree is if they're at a park that may have a tree.
Well, or their backyard.
Yeah, yeah. But you look in like the real suburban, high-rise, urban areas, there are no trees.
Yeah, that's true. But there are parks, there are city parks. So that's one thing. Another thing is the exposure to the farm animals, so livestock like cows. The
dander, the all the bugs, the smells, the skin particle, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think people think that farms are dirty, which they're dirty. I mean, you have dust and gravel and wheat dust or whatever.
There's a level of dirtiness. However, if you are operating a farm, which I grew up on one in Southern Illinois, it's still in operation. There's 1,000 tillable acres. When I was growing up, we had 2,000 hogs on the property. We were the 5th largest privately owned hog farm in the state of Illinois, and we had 300 head of cattle. Since then, they got rid of the hogs because the market was taken over by corporations and not by individuals, and 500 head of cattle, still the 1,000 tillable acres. There's a certain level of dirtiness because it is a farm. However, there's a certain cleanliness that one has to have on a farm to keep the animals alive, not sick, because you're selling this for profit. A cleanliness to the grain because you're selling that for profit, and these people who are buying these animals and the hogs and the grain are sourcing it to people who are eating it. Example, the farm that I grew up on that's still in operation, all the cattle that are sold off the farm, which are Black Angus, all go to a stockyards, and there's a particular individual buyer that buys all of our cattle for the Aurora Hospital Association. All that beef, our cattle is one of the groupings of beef that goes to all the hospitals and Aurora facilities in the state of Illinois.
I never knew that.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. So there you go. And so it's not that, obviously farms are dirty, but it's not like, I think when you think that, it's because
you drive by, oh, it smells.
Yeah, you smell, or you see the dust or whatever. You see, the animals, and you might think those are herd animals and they're nasty and dirty, but they're not. They're not. They're just
that's
just
the
animals.
life. Yeah, they're some of them are in confined pens. Others are free range, and that's up to the discretion of the farmer or the land in which he or she has available, and how many cattle or how many hogs or chickens or sheep or goats. The farmer knows how many they can have in order to sustain that pasture, and not graze it to the point where they have to supplement feed or hay way earlier in the summer than most farmers will let the cattle or goats and sheep graze on an area pasture, big grassland, up to the point where that grass is no longer growing, and then they supplement grain and hay over the winter months.
But as a city person, you might think that this is bad. This dirt is bad because you grow up in a sterile environment. But it's not bad, because these children who grew up on farms, especially the Amish, who never really go much into
vaccinations and
communities and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, they're kind of segregated outside of.
And it depends. No, it depends on the Amish community. There's no rule based on the different Amish things that I've seen, that there's no rule saying that the Amish can't visit the doctor. It's all based on money. If the Amish person wants to go to the doctor, it kind of depends on the priest of that particular. Or anyway,
let's stay on focus.
But they're breathing in the dirt and the dust and all of these things at a young age, and their body is adapting to it.
But people who live in the city think this is a bad thing because they think that is harmful to you.
That breathing in dirt, you can't have that. It's bad.
Bad, yeah. Okay. And I mean, maybe your dust in your city home. I mean, I grew up in the city, so I'm not ragging on city people, but you grew up in a city home, and the dust might be different because it's construction dust,
skin cells, maybe
acid rain,
pet dander. Yeah. There's no cycling through it. And on a farm, you've got acres and acres of open, and you don't know what the wind blowing is unless you've been on a farm and the wind is blowing, and you experience that firsthand. But you're breathing in all these natural things that you're not being protected from.
Right. So there's a lot of research that has been done on this, and this includes like epidemiology and immunology. And there's things like the European birth cohorts, which talks about how children, and this is in Europe, but children in rural Europe found that farm exposure promoted the maturation of the gut microbiome in the first year of life, and then also reduced risk of asthma at school age. And a lot of kids are getting asthma these days from whether it be who knows if it's genetics or if it's just a lack of exposure or whatever, but a lot of kids do have asthma these days. And then there's also the microbiome maturation, which shows that the positive gut microbiome, the diverse gut microbiome, does perform, what's the word I'm looking for? Does cause, no, it's, it helps the immune system greatly.
Okay. So
that's why people talk about, just in general, eating fermented foods, thinking about what you're putting in your stomach, because that affects the gut microbiome. And naturally, farm kids, people who grew up on farms, have this increased gut microbiome, which then increases their ability in their immune system to fight off the bad guys.
Well, I never had asthma growing up. Ran thousands of miles over the course of high school in cross country and track. And then through the process of moving away from the farm, apparently developed asthma.
Yeah.
And then once we bought the property and I started working, 16 hours basically doing this and doing that on the property, our 40 acres of woodland in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, the asthma has disappeared.
Right. And that's another thing is we could go on about is the effects of just being in nature.
Physical work.
Physical work, but also just being in the woods. And there's a whole lot of studies done in Japan about that as well. But this is more focused on the research that I've provided here is about the farm effect. But either way, as you move away from the higher populated areas and you go into nature, and you're surrounded by trees.
And when we talk about nature, we talk about sitting there and your ears hurt because there are no sounds.
Right. And I understand for a lot of people this is a privilege. However, there's people who've written books about how having your children outside for 1,000 hours a year and how that can be achieved. And these are all things, I have friends who do this with their children, and it's not that difficult.
Right.
You can spend a lot of time outside very easily, very cheaply.
Just figure out how many hours your children sit in front of a screen of some sort and just cut it in half.
Right. And like for me, for example, I work a full-time job in
front of a screen.
In front of a screen. And the last thing I want to do is when I log off of work is sit, I watch TV and stuff, but like I don't want to go on a tablet or
and spend another four hours doing something. Yeah.
And if that's your thing, that's fine. But it does get old. But anyway, so the farm effect is a very real thing, and I encourage you, if you have any questions or if you want to learn more about it, definitely look it up.
Well, don't have to look up waltonsinc.com.
Yeah, Walton's, you care about where your food comes from. They have waltonsinc.com has equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, spices, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off orders of $50 or more.
When we return, houseplants and terrariums. You're tuned into the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
4-Jar Canning Supply, your one-stop shop for all your canning needs, where old ways meet new in every jar. They are a family with decades of home canning experience, offering top-quality products and outstanding service. Never run out of canning lids again. Whether you're a seasoned canner or just starting out, their extensive range of canning products will elevate your canning game. 4jars.com. Inspired by the homemade preserves of our childhoods, they want to share that same joy with you. They deeply care about your family's health and understand the importance of homemade, nutritious meals. That's why they offer high-quality products to help you preserve your food. Quality canning lids, pressure canners, vacuum seal machines, and all the tools you need to get the job done. 4 Jars has you covered. Our canning lids provide the perfect airtight seal for any regular, wide, or gym-sized jar. With the thickest lids on the market, they provide long-lasting freshness, up to 18 months, and are rust-resistant, ensuring your preserves stay secure. Use code 4JARS25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars.com. That's FORJARS25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars, FORJARS.com. Check out ivorganics.com. It's America's leading garden product YouTube channel. IV Organic products are innovative, organic, effective, and proudly USA made to help you achieve your best growing season. Use coupon code RADIO10 at checkout and save 10% on your entire order at ivorganics.com. That coupon code again is RADIO10 to save 10% on your order at ivorganics.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts, Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Vermont Bean Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company with the largest selection of seeds online. Use coupon code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at vermontbean.com. That coupon code is 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at vermontbean.com. Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow year-round. Strongest greenhouses that will last a lifetime. From agricultural to lounging to entertaining. For more information, go to wisconsingreenhousecompany.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for choosing us to be part of your day just for a little bit. Houseplants and terrariums. Holly, we're going to talk about that in this segment. You built a terrarium. We've got that on our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. On the upper right corner, you just search terrarium in the hourglass, little magnifying glass box up there. And it turned out quite well, and it's about growing out of its container.
Yeah, I got to trim it. I mean, when did I grow that? When I started in like March or something?
February.
February.
Yeah.
It was fun. I highly recommend making a terrarium. We're going to talk about that.
Well, first of all, I guess we should talk about what is a terrarium for those who have heard the term but not really familiar with the unit itself.
It's like an enclosed, teeny tiny enclosed greenhouse, kind of like, and you can make them, and they don't necessarily have to be enclosed. You can. I found a book at the library, and they showed all these different types of terrariums. Open.
They have books at the library now.
Yeah, and I highly recommend going to your library to find a terrarium.
And this thing, you put it together in February, and did the steps in which the book indicate, and all books are on this particular thing are pretty much identical. And we've not opened it since, and it is flourishing because it is its own ecosystem.
Yeah. So yeah, what you do is you put like a gravelly rock layer, and then you can do a moss layer, and then a soil layer. And these don't have to be very thick layers. You can do
based on your container. You've got a 10-gallon glass. What is it called? 10-gallon glass jar, basically.
Yeah, it's a jar with a lid, and I mean, you can make your own lids. You know, you can get creative, but it's not airtight. I mean, it's pretty airtight, but it's not like super sealed.
It's not like a bottle with a cork.
No. So you can make different ones, and then I added, in the soil layer, I added plants, and then I put more moss on top of the soil after I planted the plants, and I put a little it's kind of like a fairy garden-esque decor. And some people do like dinosaurs or whatever strikes their fancy. You could put Star Wars figurines in there.
Well, there's no limits to what creativity level you want to express.
I mean, you don't even have to put anything.
No.
Or you could paint on the glass around like the soil and moss layer to make it pretty, but I like seeing the different layers. So yeah.
And it's by a west-facing window, so it only gets evening sun sometimes. And
Sometimes, yeah.
well, because we got a blind down.
Yeah.
And it's never lost any pigmentation because of the plants in which you've selected. Now, plants vary based on your area, but it doesn't have to be in direct sunlight.
You ideally don't want them in direct sunlight if you don't have to have them in direct sunlight, I guess.
Because they're kind of like miniature houseplants.
Yeah, basically. And you can do your research. I, again, got the book from the library, looked up some options, and then I went to my local garden center where they have quite a plethora of houseplants. And I got miniature ones because obviously you don't want to, unless you're building a huge terrarium, you don't want to make a huge one.
Huge terrarium's called a greenhouse.
Yeah. But in the book, they showed people using those small aquarium, glass aquarium things.
So a terrarium is in the eye of the beholder, and anything can be a terrarium if you choose to make it meet the certain criteria that is required.
And then some people do them with air plants, which you do have to water a bit differently. I don't really know a whole lot about air plants, but that's an option as well. That wouldn't be as enclosed because I think air plants get moisture from the air. I'm not really sure.
They're like tropical, so they grow on trees and in the tropics, and as it rains frequently, they pick up the moisture that comes off the tree.
There you go. You know more about air plants than I do. But again, your mileage may vary. You could make miniature in glass Christmas ornament terrariums if you feel so inclined. So you could do a mason jar, like a large mason jar. I just had this glass 10-gallon. It's not 10 gallons. It's like 5.
It's a solid 5.
Yeah.
It's round with a very domish-like lid.
I had this glass thing, jar, whatever you want to call it. It's like an apothecary jar. And I was like, this will make a great terrarium. So that's what I did.
It's only been sitting here for like 10 years.
Right. I think my dad, belonged to my dad originally. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's fun. It's something you do in the middle of winter when you're kind of bored and you're like, I need some greenery in my life.
Well, you can get houseplants. Houseplants is a good option. Yeah.
Yeah. So houseplants are very beneficial. They can help improve air quality. They reduce stress and anxiety, just like building this terrarium. Not that I was feeling stressed or anxious. It just gave me a happy little boost of...
Well, you got to be careful what kind of plants you get, because if you get a plant like on the Addams family, you got to feed it every day.
I think it would be fun to have
Morticia would feed it, and then it would, you remember...
That's another thing you can do is if you want to maybe grow a specific type of plant, like a carnivorous plant, because those are real, you could do some research on those, and then you could have a whole hobby. So that would be good for your mental health. A lot of times they do increase humidity.
Cleopatra was the plant's name.
Okay.
Yes. You don't remember this?
I do remember now.
Yeah.
Now that you
she'd have to feed it with a spoon, and it would, And
Anyway, they do kind of help.
Things you didn't know you would learn when turning into a garden talk radio
Let's
show.
talk about the Addams family.
Yeah.
I like the old Addams family.
Only ran for 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's sad.
Houseplants.
So yeah, they help with natural air filters, and then just maintaining the plants is good for your mental health, and maybe just like if you have a houseplant that flowers every once in a while, that's good too. Oh, my blah 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 is flowering. So here's some good plants that have some benefits. So peace lily, I'm sure you've all seen those. It does help. It's a great air purifier. It can remove toxins like ammonia, benzene, and formaldehyde. And then the spider plants, again, good at removing toxins. Especially if you've ever seen a spider plant, they have a lot of leaves.
Yeah.
I guess you call them leaves. Yeah. Yeah. And then English ivy. This is one that you see in offices a lot because it kind of just grows and grows and grows. I remember when I worked in the office, somebody had English ivy, and they're always having to kind of cut it back because it would encroach on other people's cubicles. So
get your plant out of here.
I don't think it bothered everybody, but if you want something that's going to grow out, what's it called when they grow out?
Vine.
There we go. Could not think of that word. It's kind of fun. So if you want a viney plant, it's good. I would say if you have any pets, you might want to see what their reaction are to plants before you go all in, and see if the pet pet bothers the plant. Our cat doesn't bother any plants.
No, but some plants meet their their demise because of the animals.
Right.
And they can be very toxic and kill the animal too.
Right. I remember our one
Like
cat.
geraniums are not good for cats, but
No.
we've got geraniums, and our cat could care less that they were here.
Yeah. Except for like sometimes he bothers the aloe, but that's okay. Yeah. So then there's Boston ferns. These are good at increasing humidity. So if you have like an air conditioned space where it could be dry, that will help increase the humidity in the air. And then aloe vera. Everybody knows about aloe vera, right? It's the gel to soothe burns, dry skin, cuts, whatever. And it's kind of a cool looking. I think it's a cool looking plant. You could, and that's the other thing is you can get different planters that maybe are interesting, or you could go paint your own planter.
Yeah.
You could go get a terracotta.
Have a planter with a plant coming out of a head.
Yeah.
It looks like a human head.
I have
You've got
one
that.
like
Yeah.
Like terracotta, you could go, get a terracotta plant.
But you got to remember to water these things.
Yes.
That's the problem.
And you don't want to overwater them.
No, they're sensitive to being watered too much or not enough. There's a fine line. It's like taking care of a kid.
And it's, they do grow, so you might have to repot them at some point. So you have to keep that in mind as well, that it's not just always not just a one and done thing.
Right.
And then you have to be careful not to overwater them. And I know maybe I'm not selling you on plants, but you could just have one day where you water the plants. Yes. Where you can get those self-watering situations. So
you want to know more about Cleopatra or about Morticia's?
Yes.
It was a carnivorous African strangler that she grew from a seed. She'd feed it raw hamburger. They also had headless roses at the house, hemlocks, poison ivy, and henbarns, Henbane.
Henbane?
Henbanes, yeah.
I've heard of hemlock.
Yeah, but yeah. Yep, Cleopatra, they'd feed it raw hamburger.
I don't think that's real.
Oh, come on.
Is it African what?
It's an African strangler.
Okay.
Keep talking. More houseplants. You've got a houseplant above the refrigerator that continues to grow.
No, we're not even that good at watering it. It's a Monstera. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a Monstera. I bought it in 2020 because I was like, we need a plant, right?
Right.
We need more plants.
Well, you chose that we needed a plant.
Yeah, well, we have plants, but I was like, we need another plant. And, yeah, it's doing pretty good. I should probably repot it. I should work on that, but we don't have any potting soil right now, but that's okay. So yeah, and then I also was given an air plant by somebody. I can't remember who, but it did not do well. So that's why I'm like, I don't know about air plants, but a lot of people have a lot of success with air plants. So there's that. And then we have the geranium, we have aloe. What else do we have? We had coleus inside for a long time. And then also I just want to remind people, don't forget you can grow a lot of herbs inside, like lavender, chamomile, lemon balm, and people like that for aromatherapy, teas, etc. Just to have around, especially something like lavender. That's a nice smelling plant. We've grown. Now, if you want to do something that's edible, you can do microgreens inside. Not quite a plant. You can do bean sprouts in a jar. So it's not like you have to maintain that a little bit, but it's something that you can eat and enjoy, and you can get creative.
So there you go.
I thought you were going to talk about the.
People can find more. I gave enough teas that they can dig it up on their little social media. Yeah. Okay. Well, summer is nearly getting to completion. The kids are mostly back in school, and the nights are getting cooler. And let's be honest, you have probably forgotten about your yard, haven't you?
Yeah, just because it's fall doesn't mean we want to forget about our yards and those Japanese beetles either. They may be gone, but they're not far. Not only did they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so that they can start again next year. Take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader you're getting into the soil and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it is the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls grubs. And the best part about it, it is non-toxic to bees and other pollinators and beneficial insects. In fact, Grub Gone has no label restrictions to use around flowering plants. So those mums and fall flowers, you don't have to worry about the bees taking back toxicity to their hive and damaging them. You can find all that out at grubgone.com from parent company phyllombioproducts.com, grubgone.com. Hang out with us. Rebecca from Happy Heart Garden will be with us. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Good garden tools make gardening easier. Wisconsin-made Cobra Head tools simplify weeding, cultivating, digging, and planting. Favorites of professional gardeners, Cobra Head tools are durable, ergonomic, and easy to work with. Visit cobrahead.com and use coupon code SOIL for 10% off your order. David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company, is a landscaper you need. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com.
Mantis garden tiller cultivators are the perfect solution for any garden. With their gas-powered 2-cycle or 4-cycle engine, these powerful machines can till 9 or 16 inches of land without you breaking a sweat. And it doesn't stop there. Mantis's optional attachments allow you to aerate, plow, and more with the snap of a finger. Engineered with durability in mind, Mantis tiller cultivators will be your guaranteed garden companion for a long time. You can find more out and details at mantis.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA Bio-Preferred certified? You bet. Say goodbye to Roundup and hello to No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. Safer on pets, No More Weeds has a proprietary sticking agent to use around gardens, pools, decks, patios, anywhere there are weeds. Available online at natgreenproducts.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Order yours today. The same great company that brings you no more bugs. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
The Shore and Shore utility cart is designed to help you with your projects around the yard and get your garden work done with ease. With a load capacity of 400 pounds, telescoping sides, the ability to use as a flat bed, and the option to pull it behind your bicycle. This cart is ideal for use around the garden, yard, lake, beach, park, and more. In short, the Shore and Shore is the most versatile cart in the market. Check us out at shoreandshore.com and get yours today.
Totally Tomato is a family-owned and operated gardening company with the largest selection of tomatoes online. Use code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at totallytomato.com. That's code 15TG25.
Do you have nuts or fruit in your yard? A Nut Wizard is a handy, effective tool that will pick up round or oval tree produce quickly and easily, leaving debris behind for a clean harvest. A Nut Wizard tool saves your back and your time. Visit nutwizard.com for more information. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you've chose us to be part of your day. Want to find out more information about those sponsors you've heard and all the coupon codes? Find them at our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Money tab for the coupon codes and the Season 9 tab for all of the sponsors that financially support the program to allow it to be heard on your station each week. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Rebecca teaches people on her YouTube channel that gardening doesn't have to be complicated or fancy, and she hopes to inspire you to grow what makes your heart happy. Welcome to the program, Rebecca.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to join Holly, myself, and all of our listeners. And how did you get into gardening? Was it something that you found as a child or developed later on in life and went, hey, this is pretty neat. I think this might be something I'm going to enjoy?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. I actually grew up on a dairy farm in northern Pennsylvania. So I was kind of exposed, to that life. And then when I got up, older and out on my own, I did a garden first thing because I was really into I wanted to can and just I've always been really into eating healthy, vegetables and stuff. So I wanted to be able to grow my own.
What, on that dairy farm, how many cows were being milked? Just for curiosity. I grew up on a beef farm in southern Illinois, and you hear these outrageous numbers like 500, 600, 800 cattle a day type of thing.
Oh gosh, no, it was not anything like that. It was just my parents. So on average, I would say 70 to 100. I mean, it kind of fluctuated, but it was pretty much just my mom and dad for the most part that did it all.
And the difference between the way I grew up was if you went somewhere and you got home late, well, they'll be okay in the morning. Dairy cows, you have to milk, twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. Otherwise, it can kill the cattle.
Yes, yeah, we milked twice a day, and we pretty much didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's
there was no vacations or anything, which was great. I mean, it was a wonderful childhood. I wouldn't change anything, but yeah, you don't have vacations and trips. That's not a thing.
You learn the definition of what work is.
Oh, definitely. I feel very blessed to have had such wonderful parents, and it taught me, such a great work ethic for sure. Mm-hmm.
That's always amazing to hear about people who grew up on farms. So what's been a recent garden challenge and that you have overcome, and how did you get past it or learn from it?
Sure. So now I currently mostly garden in South Alabama. So I'm Happy Heart Gardens because I still have a garden at my parents'. That's kind of where I summer garden. And then I live primarily in South Alabama, which of course is extremely hot, subtropical climate. So a lot of pests, pests are a huge problem down here. Coming from the north, moving down here, I was like, wow. Pests are really crazy, but I've learned it's best to really say what the pest is. I garden organically, so to really identify what that pest is and then target that specifically, not just kind of spray, say neem oil for just as an example, just because it's, out there and you hear about it, to really identify what that pest is and then treat it the best way that you can.
Well, and you bring up a point that some people who are new and uneducated in the world of gardening and organic gardening is, oh, there's a bad bug, I got to get rid of it. And that's not always the case.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, not every bug is going to be bad. So, sometimes you kind of have to leave the bad bugs maybe for the good bugs to show up and just kind of let it all sort of just do its own little ecological thing that, nature is made to do. So yeah, it's really important to identify those bugs and know which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones, and the best way to deal with the bad ones if you do need to get rid of them.
And I think you bring up a good point because we live in this instantaneous society where everything's so let's find a solution ASAP, and sometimes the solution is going to
not do anything.
The problem is going to take care of itself because we live in this beautiful world and there's a lot of balance, and the ecosystem will take care of itself. Not always, but sometimes it is a matter of just waiting. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just something that just maybe you should just kind of get that confidence the longer you've been gardening. When you first start out, you're like, oh my gosh, you want everything to be perfect. But then you realize as you go on, it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay. You're not a bad gardener. That's just all part of it. We can only control, so much. But yeah, really, pests are super challenging down here. It's I'm always learning something new for sure.
From the transition of going from Pennsylvania now gardening in Alabama, what plant are you growing now that you couldn't have grown back in Pennsylvania?
I would say peanuts just off the bat, but you can grow peanuts in the north. It's just a little bit trickier, which of course here it's super easy to grow peanuts. So yeah, when I moved here, I saw all these peanut farms and I was like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about growing peanuts. So now it's a favorite thing to grow in my garden every year.
For people who have never had a fresh homegrown peanut, how big of is it like what you would normally say, like a store-bought tomato versus a homegrown? Is it that big of a difference in taste and flavor?
I mean, maybe not as much as a tomato. I mean, you cannot beat a homegrown tomato.
Right.
I mean, the store is just, but yeah, when you're pulling them up, I mean, you get that fresh peanut smell and it's just incredible. Yeah, you can't beat it. It's yeah. And you can, like I said, you can grow them in the north. You just have to do a little more preparation.
Well, why don't you tell us about your YouTube channel, remind us of the name again, and when people go and check it out, what they can find?
Yeah, sure. So it's Rebecca, my name, and then Happy Heart Gardens. And I'm fairly new to YouTube, so I'm just going over there doing some longer content, sharing, because it's hard to do things. I'm primarily on Instagram, so it's kind of hard, to get a lot of information out in that, short kind of format. So yeah, just doing, videos and tours of both the Pennsylvania and Alabama garden and what's happening in both places, talking about fertilizing, preserving, just all the garden things.
And you have a quick and easy way to preserve onions. Now, for people who grow onions and have difficulty growing onions, there are different categories. You'd be growing short day, and up here where we're at in the northern portion, we're growing long day as well as you probably would be in Pennsylvania. So what is that what is that preserving trick that you have found that you can share with us?
Just freezing them. It's so easy. You can just chop them up, slice them up, dice them, really put them in. If they're small, you could even leave them whole for if you were going to put them in an oven roast or that type of thing. And then you can just put them right in the freezer. They don't have to have any prep, which makes it so easy.
So you can't, if they're small enough, put them in, peel the dirty part off and clean them up a little bit.
Well, sure. Right. Yeah. Right. And you're going to clean them up and dice them like you're going to use them for cooking. But then I put them on cookie sheets usually overnight to freeze, just so they don't quite stick so much. And then in the morning, put them in a freezer bag or a vacuum seal, whatever it is you prefer.
Bobby.
Yeah.
So we love mulch as much as you do. What are some of your favorite mulches and why do you like them?
Sure. So up home in Pennsylvania, of course, straw was always the go-to, especially being on the farm because we had access to it. I still like to use straw here, but I have resorted to buying this stuff at Tractor Supply, which isn't bad. I've been using it for years and it's still good too. It's just that kind of easy, I think what is it called? Easy tack or something straw. And it's a big bag and it goes a long ways, believe it or not. And then down here, we also have pine straw, which is very common for mulch. I tend to use that more in my landscaping and in my berry bushes. And then I use the chopped straw typically for my grow bags and my raised beds.
Now, because the straw breaks down much quicker than the pine straw does.
Yeah, correct. And it's just kind of easier to work with as far as around vegetables because pine straw is kind of long and stringy almost. Yeah. But both great mulches. But yeah, mulching is so important, especially as we get warmer, countrywide. I mean, I'm especially warm down here, but even up north, it's been such a hot summer. It's really just so important to keep everything mulched, to conserve on that moisture.
Now, are you purchasing the pine straw? Or are you gathering that on the property? And if you're gathering it, how much do I leave versus how much do I take?
No, I'm just purchasing it. We don't have access to it at my property here. I just don't have enough. I mean, it comes out of the trees, but I don't have enough, able to gather. So there's lots of people around here that do it locally. So I am getting local pine straw.
Yeah, you purchasing straw, growing up on a farm, having that access, and then that cringe moment, I got to buy straw. I used to have unlimited access.
Yes. Yeah, that and of course we always, had cow manure and all that kind of stuff. So now anytime I have to buy something like that, I'm oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's breaking my heart.
Do you irrigate and how do you deal with weeds?
Sure. Yeah. So I garden primarily in raised beds here. And the Pennsylvania garden is an in-ground garden, but here it's raised beds. So I have drip and overhead sprinklers, just because I also use grow bags. So I like the overhead sprinklers to kind of, that'll get them as well as the beds. And that's just all hooked into my Rainbird whole house sort of irrigation system. Because again, we are so hot here. Right. So we have to irrigate everything. But drip is great.
Yeah, definitely. So we'd asked you, what's something that you are able to grow in the south versus the north? If you didn't have access to your northern garden, what is something you would have missed growing?
That I can't grow here, say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pumpkins are really a struggle here, and also sometimes tomatoes, just because I'm near the Gulf, so you kind of really just get the Gulf Stream with all of the fungal issues. And of course we have such high humidity and heat. I mean, I'm planting tomatoes in March to hopefully try to get some, because the fungal issues like blight, leaf spot are really hard to combat.
Now,
and pumpkins, again, just so many pests,
right.
Like the pests, pickle worms, squash vine borers, they never die here. It's just, they're constantly, breeding and having more. So there's always a cycle of them.
When people say that you're a gardener in the South, I instantly think watermelon and sweet potatoes.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep. Sweet potatoes are great here. I actually have them growing right now. To me, they're my, like, I like to call second summer garden, since I kind of plant, like I had mentioned, my tomatoes and peppers in March. That's kind of like first summer. And then like in this time period now, there's not a lot that will grow in our extreme heat, except for like sweet potatoes, watermelon, okra, cowpeas. I've really gotten into growing cowpeas here because, again, they can take that heat.
Okra, too, I would assume, unless you don't like okra. Holly doesn't like okra. So.
Yeah, no, I like that's. You have to grill it or roast it. Then it tastes really good.
I found you can dehydrate it and the slime disappears and you rehydrate it and it's not there. So I don't know.
Oh, okay, good. I'll have to try that. Yeah, but we like it roasted or grilled. So that's usually what I do, or pickled.
And I've seen, some people in the South have okra plants the size of small trees in their garden, and it just looks like it's amazing the difference just in the temperatures, how rapidly certain things grow just a little bit farther down south than where we're at.
Oh yeah, the okra can get crazy. Roselle hibiscus is something else that can really just kind of like take over. It kind of gets a slow start, but once it gets going, it just goes nuts. And that's been super fun to grow too, because I love to make tea with it.
Well, Rebecca, we greatly appreciate your time. Again, let us know the social media platforms that we can find you on, that our listeners can go and view your content and learn from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Happy Heart Gardens, and I am on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Well, we thank you so much for your time, your knowledge, and sharing it not only with Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. We thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was tons of fun.
Absolutely. And when we return, it's going to be your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Azure Standard is America's premier family-owned online store for organic foods and healthy products for your home and garden. They deliver directly to families and commercial customers through over 3,500 drop points across all 50 states. Azure Standards strives to make grocery shopping easy, bringing all your needs to one convenient pickup location. As a trusted national health food distributor, Azure Standard offers bulk and specialty health foods to communities nationwide. With over 12,000 products, each one is approved and carefully sampled to ensure the highest quality. Azure Standard holds firm to non-GMO, organic, and natural standards. From food and beauty products to household items, nutritional supplements, animal care, hobby supplies, and even garden essentials, Azure Standard truly has everything for your daily living. Visit azurestandard.com, that's AZURE standard.com. Use promo code Joey and Holly 15 at checkout to get 15% off for new customers who open an account for the first time and place a minimum order of $100 or more, shipped to a drop location of your choice. That's code Joey and Holly 15 at azurestandard.com. Azure Standard is AZURE standard.com.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at jungseed.com. That coupon code is 15TG25 to save 15% off your order at jungseed.com.
R.H. Shumway is a family-owned and operated gardening company with a large selection of seeds and plants online. You can use code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at rhshumway.com. That's code 15TG25. Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Have insects such as aphids or fungal gnats invaded your plants? Fight back with Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bits. Organic Summit Year-Round Spray Oil kills insect pests on indoor and outdoor plants. All natural mosquito bits kill fungal gnats larvae in container plants. Both products are harmless to people, plants, and wildlife. Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bit are available at garden centers, hardware stores, and at summitresponsibleSolutions.com.
One Sweet Earth makes the last garden bed you'll ever need. Strong, simple, sustainable. One Sweet Earth beds slide together in minutes. No tools, no rot, no junk. Durable, non-toxic, woman-owned, made in the USA. Visit onesweetearth.com. Save your back. Easily and quickly remove trees and shrubs from your property with the Weed Wrench. Find it at weed-wrench.com. Made in the USA. Use coupon code WEED to save $10 off your Weed Wrench at weed-wrench.com.
Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. It's time for your garden questions and our garden answers. You got a question? Send it on over. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. That's GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call toll free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Let's see what we can get through to the top of the hour, Holly.
All right, so is this the beginning of early blights? I have done the corn. Okay, so the picture came with
A picture was sent in.
so
we're going to try to describe this. It is a tomato plant that has a lot of curled up leaves.
Right. So the question is this the beginning of early blight? I have done the cornmeal, trimmed them up to 8 inches, mulched with the clean seasoned grass clippings. Then there's a picture of the
plant itself.
Yeah. So this, to me, looks like tomato leaf curl.
I believe that's what it would be, yeah.
Yeah, leaf curl on the tomatoes typically caused by environmental stress, not necessarily pathogens or insects. So it's not like a blight, like an airborne situation or insects.
Right.
So it's a little bit, could be anything from like too much or too little water. Nutrients can make the leaves curl. A wet spring. Also, if somebody around you is spraying something that contains 2,4-D, that can cause this problem as well.
Which is a broadleaf herbicide chemical that
possibly if your neighbor or somebody or yourself is utilizing some sort of, it doesn't sound like he's utilizing it in like a grass, lawn, whatever that's called.
What you're meaning is somebody has applied that 2,4-D chemical on the grass to kill the broadleaves, the lamb's quarters, the dandelions, and utilize that into compost. That compost is now in the garden, and that chemical is so potent that it's still active and it's infecting your beans, your tomatoes, your eggplants, your potatoes.
It doesn't sound like that's the case here.
But I just wanted to explain it for people who are trying to understand what you were.
Yeah. I know did we have a wet spring? I think so.
We had a wet spring, but
I believe was he in Michigan? I forget, or was it Chicago area? But anyway, similar climate. And so it could be a result of the wet spring, or again, something in the air that came over. A lot of times this is seen in more urban areas because you have neighbors spraying stuff, that stuff drifts in the air and then it causes issues.
So it's kind of irreversible at this point.
Yeah.
So you just kind of let the plant grow and produce what it can, and try to alter the environmental situation the best you can next year.
That's the best plan of action for this situation with the leaf curl.
All right. Now as I see more and more posts about canning various products from our gardens, I'm wondering where people are finding the good prices on canning lids right now. The cheapest that I can find, or more than 50 cents a piece. Where is the cost of canning? Where are you getting the cost of these canning lids so cheaply? Are you buying it in bulk, or is there a source online that you can recommend for cheaper prices so I can get more and start canning?
I think this is this can vary depending on where you live, and I think how far, what the cost of living is.
Well, also brand and cheap doesn't always mean good when it comes to canning lids.
I personally wouldn't. 50 cents a lid doesn't seem that high to me, but it makes sense. It does add up. So for canning lids, you can go to 4 jars. That's FOR jars.co. And we have a code. You can get 10% off your order if you use the code 4jars25. So that's FORJARS25, and that will save you 10%.
And you can go to our parent website under the parent website, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.com, underneath the money tab to find all the coupon codes, and you can buy lids in bulk for a very good price at 4jars.co, and do it there. A great sponsor that supported the program this year. How can I harvest seeds from my herb plants?
So you want to allow them to flower, and then you want the flower to stay until it dries out. And typically then if you shake the dry flower head, you'll get seeds. And this is for pretty much any plant that is like an herb or a flower. Think about like...
Well, it depends a little on the type of plant.
Right.
Like cilantro and dill, all the flowers parts and the seeds are right there. But for oregano, mint, basil, the other method is applicable.
It's also good to keep in mind that things can cross-pollinate, so it may not be the same characteristic of your original plants, and this can happen with herbs.
And vegetables.
Yeah.
Cucumbers. If you've got more than one variety of cucumbers, it's best probably just to restart new seeds because they will cross. You can squash plants can cross. Zucchini and spaghetti squash can cross. So there's a lot of crossing capabilities. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee just because you have it in your garden. Doesn't mean, I know it's going to be a cross, because that doesn't cross-pollination. That doesn't necessarily mean. Now, corn, that's a whole other thing for a whole other topic, but that can be crossed with agricultural or neighbor's corn and all that other stuff. So... let's see here. I let my russet potato plants die all the way back to the ground, completely dead and dry before I harvesting them. Several of them had turned to mush. Do you think I left them too long, or do I have a problem? I let my russet potato plants die all the way back.
Yeah, so it's this can happen because of excessive moisture and poor drainage. So russet potatoes they're long growing potato. They're about 120 days. So you would want to make sure you harvest within that 120 days. But the good draining soil is what is important. So if you have poor drainage, too much moisture, this can cause the rotting because it does inhibit the growth of fungus and bacteria.
That's the key. Whether you're planting store-bought potatoes that have sprouted, or you're planting seed potatoes that you've purchased from your farm store, your garden center, know the days to maturity. Once the plant, some potatoes will flower, but once the plant has started to die back, and let's say your potato takes 90 days to grow, and that potato is starting to die back, and it's like 85 to the 93, 95 mark, you're like, okay, I can dig them up. At the point where the plant begins to die back, the potato is not going to grow anymore. We've got potatoes up at our property, and I should have dug them up like 2 weeks ago. It's been very wet, and I'm sure I'm going to probably deal with this particular issue. This particular issue. We've got some red potatoes that were store-bought that I planted, and they got blight really bad, so they're not going to be large to begin with. But I fear that I may have the same issue as this particular person has when it comes to the mushiness of the potatoes. But yeah, dig them up. Don't need to wait until the plant completely dies back for two reasons. One, you may not remember where they're at if you have a very weedy garden. We've got potatoes that did just this in the front yard. We're terrible gardeners, apparently. We're letting these potatoes in multiple places, forget to dig them up.
We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know the duration of when your potato should be harvested, and then if it's supposed to be 90 days and you're starting to see issues at 45 or 60 days, then you've got a disease or a bug problem. So keep that in mind.
I extracted 200 square feet of crown rot infected rhubarb from the home garden. That's a lot of rhubarb. How do I amend the soil for
your family would not like that.
No. How do I amend the soil for future plantings? This presents a great dilemma for me. I'm affiliated with the Wisconsin Master Gardeners, so I need help.
Okay.
So for the amending the soil for the rhubarb, the rot, crown rot, you would want to. You want to make sure you do pull out all of those plants, all of the roots or the crowns, and then as much as you can. So you want to make sure you dig all those up and get rid of them. But then you want to use either a rich compost soil, so something that is very highly dense in nutrients. So you could call like your local garden center and see what kind of rich compost that they have, or you can use a slow release all-purpose fertilizer, and whatever it says. So if it says it's good for a couple months, then you would want to apply it again in a couple months.
Well, we were out of time, and we thank you for yours. Miss any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it, find it on our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, or search your favorite search engine, The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Tune in the program next week where we'll be discussing getting your tomatoes to ripen before frost so you don't have a whole tonnage of green tomatoes, as well as making it at home. It tastes better. Our guest is Miss Lori and Mr. Brown from YouTube channel homesteading page Whippoorwill Holler will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.